guys, this is the 2025 KTM 250Sxf 4-stroke. This thing retails for $10,399. It's got the new updated frame. We have a lot of time on this chassis though, as we just got done riding our KTM 250 Factory Edition, which had basically the same exact bike with a few extra mods on it, so we know all about this bike. Let's get into it. Let's start with the things that haven't changed on this bike. Engine, big bore, short stroke. This engine was all new in 2023. No changes for 2024 and no changes for 2025. This thing stays the same. 45 horsepower on the dyno and just under 21 foot-pounds of torque. So last year, the Kawasaki KX250 actually edged out the KTM on the dyno just slightly in our 250 shootout, but this bike is known for being the strongest engine in the class. On the track though, you have to rev to get that power. The Yamaha YZ250F actually is much faster and stronger off the bottom end. KTM 250, it is technically faster on the dyno, but you have to rev to the moon to get there. This bike likes to be revved far above 13,000 RPMs, and that means you have to hold it wide open and don't shift until the very last second. Once you're about to hear it hit the rev limiter, that's when you shift up, and that's how you make the most of this 250 engine. Brembo brakes, these things are the best in class still. Yes, I'll be hard on the wheels, but the brakes, bar none, top of the class. We love Brembo. Strongest on the front and strongest on the rear. Steel braided brake lines as well adds that extra little factory touch, giving you great feel at the foot pegs and also at the front brake lever. Talking more about the brakes, this is the rear brake pedal. You can adjust how high or low it is by this adjustment right here. You got a nut on the back here, and this bolt goes in and out to raise or lower the rear brake pedal, but you have to adjust the free play right here going into the plunger, into the master cylinder for the rear brake. You have to adjust that once you set your position. Something to keep your eye on your bike at home. Adding to the list of things that did not change for 2025, wheels. These things are exactly the same as they were before. You still need to check the spokes at regular intervals. Also keep your eyes on the sprocket bolts. It's come loose on us a handful of times, especially when breaking in bikes. Sprocket bolts are extremely important. If they come loose even one time, that throws a big red flag for us. So we always check our sprocket bolts, especially when breaking in the bike. Have a torque wrench, a spoke torque wrench. Check them regularly when you're breaking in the bike and get them to kind of take a set inside the rim. After that, you should be pretty good, but yes, KTM wheels, you still need to check the spokes even more than the Japanese manufacturers. All right, now let's get into the things that did change. Aesthetically, this is the only change. You got a little bracket right here and also kind of a different shape at the bottom. So this is super important when you're ordering graphics for your 2025 model. I've already done it twice now where I've ordered the wrong graphics. Factory editions and 2025 models, different shrouds right here. Everything else on the bike is the same as far as plastics goes. But the big change for 2025 is the frame. Now we had this on our factory edition KTM 250Sxf, cutouts here in the shock tower mount, also cutouts in the engine mounts and the engine hangers. So that adds a little more flex, a little more comfort on the track. We always talked about the 10-hour rule for the last few generations for 23 and 24. Now 25 models braking a lot easier and more compliant and plush on the track. If you ever get that harsh feel when you're hitting braking bumps and acceleration bumps, sometimes you can feel like the frame is too stiff. You maybe work on your suspension, go forwards and backwards, softer and stiffer, and trying to get your suspension dialed in. You finally get comfortable with it, but you still feel like the bike is too harsh. This right here is supposed to make the bike a little more flexible. It also works together with some hidden updates to the steering head and the front of the frame up here, making wall tube thickness a little bit thinner, adding more flex all around on the chassis. All right, so the forged gusseting up here, it's a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner, making it a little more comfortable on the front end. Also, the wall tube thickness of the frame in the main frame spars on both sides, that's a little bit thinner as well. So geometry looks, from the outside looking in, looks exactly the same, but it is actually a little bit thinner. Adding to the list of things that did change for 2025 is the linkage. This link arm now is 2 millimeters shorter and also 2 millimeters thinner. Also, the bolts here are both 2 millimeters smaller on either side. So getting a good angle at it from down here. More flexible on the rear end, giving you a little more plush feel. Also, the rear axle got smaller last year in 2023 and 24. So this new linkage change, working together with suspension updates and the frame, are supposed to work good with that axle. Oh, sorry. Something you might have heard is that the KTM and the Austrian brands have started working together with CF Moto and producing bikes in China. I'm here to tell you guys that it is not true. People have quoted me saying that. Obviously not true. I talked to KTM today to clarify that only the 790 Adventure and the 790 Duke street bikes are made with CF Moto through the KTM partnership in China. Also, the 390 and 250 Duke street bikes, those are made with their partners in India, but the motocross and the off-road models are all made in Austria, made in-house at KTM. Nothing on these bikes have been sacrificed, so the same great KTMs you've been buying for years, same great KTMs that are being made, only they're making upgrades, especially this 2025 bike. It was pretty awesome to ride today. So we've spent a lot of time on the KTM 250 Factory Edition model. That came with an Akrapovic muffler on it. It also came with the new CUO connectivity unit off-road on the front fender, allowing you to connect your phone to your bike to adjust engine mapping, to monitor RPMs around the track, monitor gear position, and to be able to connect your Lit Pro data to your phone as well. So the bike actually had Lit Pro built into it. That was pretty trick. Now that came on the Factory Edition models, that's able to be bought and put onto 23, 24, and these 25 models, but you do have to pay extra for the hardware. It's $250 at your dealership, and you have to pay monthly for the extra rider features from the Lit Pro leaderboard. So if you want to customize engine braking, throttle response, mapping, you can do all that, and you can connect your phone to your bike, but you're gonna have to pay a little bit extra for it. Other updates for 2025, obviously this has the black frame, it's the stock frame. If you want that orange, you have to buy the Factory Edition, or you have to powder coat it yourself. The Factory Edition comes with the whole shot device. It comes with upgraded factory Power Parts wheels. It also comes with the Power Parts WP triple clamps. We spent a lot of time on those bikes, so today the track was completely smooth. Not a great day for testing and really feeling out the bike, but we didn't really have to do too much of that because we know this bike like the back of our hand from riding that Factory Edition model for so long. So good times shaking down the KTM 250Sxf. Dalsogio forks, we've been riding with those a lot on the front end. These are the stock WP air forks. I personally appreciate the air forks. I love the light feel that they give us here at Glen Helen. I like how they work on the drier, skatier tracks. If you don't mind working on the air pressure and checking the air pressure throughout the day, WP Exact air forks are the way to go. So overall, good times on the KTM 250Sxf. Check out more 2025 tested videos on our YouTube channel and website, Honda Bikes, KTM 450, and more. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Also, go check out our Marvin Moose Camp video. 2-stroke 125. It was sick.